products provide capabilities, and the value from products is described as service offerings. So in that example, we had the service offerings such as flights and flight options from one city to another. And when customers accept these offerings, service delivery and consumption begin. If the customer is not there, the users are not there, then there is no need for the service delivery, and there will be no service consumption. Now, a single service may be based on one or more products. We have already seen that the flight from one city to another depends on passenger transportation. It can also include cargo transportation. So, for example, if there's a cargo service, then it'll depend on cargo transportation. A single product may enable many services. The same passenger transportation can enable flights between service within the country, services outside the country. It can offer online booking, checking, and so on. And it can offer the movie services within the aircraft. So a lot sorts of combinations are possible here. Another example that I could think of, and you might have seen it in ITIL 4 as well, this was the email and calendar service. For that to happen, we need products such as online email and calendar. But then these products, as we know, are based on resources such as the mail application, the network. There could be a cloud service, a cloud infrastructure, I should say, certain personnel to operate the email product. And then this product, the online email and the calendar, these can be provided as services in the form of personal subscriptions and business email subscriptions. So there are no goods here. There is nothing physical here. It's mainly the email applications and interfaces so that an individual on their own or from a business can access their email and manage it, and access their calendar and manage it. And of course, as part of the service for the email subscription, the user will receive the support from the customer service of the email provider. And for example, they may need help to restore their lost email or some sort of virus scanning or whatever. Therefore, a single product may enable many services, and a single service may be based on several products also. We have here digital product and digital service. The word digital has come in. Therefore, it's very similar to the definition of product and service respectively. A digital product is a combination of an organization's resources based on digital technology and designed to offer value to consumers. So product has value. The value is not realized yet. There is potential value. Digital service, a service that relies fully or largely on digital products. And the service, in fact, creates value or realizes value. So the email service offering is mainly a digital service. The email application is a digital product. And services through the airline, as I mentioned, some of those are non-digital services like offering food, beverages, and toiletries, whereas the digital services are the check-in and booking, refunds, and so on. Streaming of movies as well. So what is that which makes a product really digital? This is not purely black and white, but a spectrum. Therefore, we can maybe classify them as follows. On one hand, on one extreme, on one side, we have purely analog. On the other side, we have purely digital. And in between, we have moving from purely analog to digitally supported, then digitally enabled, and then purely digital. Purely analog is a very old world, ancient history. Without digital technology, the products will operate. Whereas digitally supported means digital is used for non-core functions, not for the core functions. Whereas digitally enabled means digital technology is used for the core functions. Otherwise, there is no value from the product. And purely digital means there are no analog or physical components. But in real world, we'll see some examples coming up in the next slide that in purely digital also, we may have a little bit of hardware. So this is a good picture with example taken from the book, from the official book. On the left side, we have non-digital. On the right, we have fully digital. So on the left, we can see the products which do not use digital technology at all. There are some clothes, some wearables, not the modern wearables, but clothes to wear, bags, and rucksack and washing machine. And it's got some digital electronic circuitry in there. And when it comes to cameras and maybe modern washing machines, there is some digital technology, though we do have the lens and all that mechanical electronic things as well. And smart homes definitely need some digital technology. Well, there is the home itself, which is not digital. And then as we move towards the right, electric vehicles and more modern vehicles, cars in particular, are becoming more and more digital, even for the engine to operate. And of course, the engine itself remains still physical or analog type. Then as we move towards the right, laptops, mobile phones, they become even more digital. Of course, they do have hardware. Yes. So we cannot say they're 100%, but mostly digital. And if it comes to pure digital, then it's basically, SaaS applications on the cloud, for example, an accounting application on the cloud, or electronic document writer. Those are fully digital. For the user, when they don't see the actual hardware, which is in the background, which is hidden from them, but they see only the software on their side, then it is purely digital for them. So when I access a cloud environment through my console or through my applications, then I see it as a fully digital product. But behind the scene, there will be some hardware, networks, and so on. So the application of the ITIL product and service management guidance is for digital products and digital services. This is also a very useful slide. How to differentiate between digital and non-digital products. And this is really some nice finer points. Non-digital, they typically depend on physical resources and materials. There is physical delivery of those products. They cannot be fixed or diagnosed remotely. I like that point. There is a clear border between production and usage. It is produced somewhere in a factory and then sent for use, sold for use. And therefore, it's more like the concept of goods, which is transferred from the seller to the buyer. And that's how the value is co-created. For example, I receive a parcel at home. I start using that item which is inside the parcel, and that's it. So those are goods. For example, it could be a watch that I will wear. So goods are tangible resources, transferred or available for transfer from a service provider to a service consumer, together with ownership and associated rights and responsibilities. So when I purchase a watch online, though I use a digital service to purchase it, but once I receive the watch in a package, then I own the watch because I paid for it. Whereas on the right side here, we see digital products and components typically have the following characteristics. They depend on digital resources, software and virtual infrastructure, such as cloud applications, can be delivered instantly and digitally. I use a mobile app for, let's say I want to get some food at home. I order the food online. Everything is done online. I don't even have to speak to anybody. It's a digital service provided to me. Of course, I'm using a digital product, which is like the app itself. But when I place an order, I'm using a digital service. And when the food is delivered, I receive a physical product. I can't eat a digital product in any case. Maybe who knows in the future when robots start eating chips and I'm eating my chips with them, giving them company. How wild that was. And they can be diagnosed, fixed, and improved remotely, and developed, improved, and used simultaneously. Yes, so while there is development going on the other side from the developer, I can still use the mobile app, and I might get a message after some days that I need to update my app, or it might be automatically updated with some more functionalities and features. Therefore, a key point, which is also useful for the exam, is to know that access to resources is the main form of value co-creation in digital products and services. Physical goods have less value, less meaning in the digital product and service concept or in that world. Even service actions which was another form of a service offering. Typically, when we come to the service offering recording afterwards, in another separate recording, we will see that there is a goods, access to resources, and service actions. Goods and service actions also remove to a large extent. Service actions mean I want to speak to somebody, but now it's not needed. I can speak to an AI-based chatbot and it'll respond to me. Therefore, access to resources is the main thing that is left in the digital world. So I just need to create a login for an app, for a mobile app, and I start using it. So then I obtain access. In some cases, I may have to fulfill certain conditions. For example, I may have to be above a certain age. I may have to pay some money and so on. Further, what makes a product digital? We have understood quite a lot on this topic already. And therefore, digital products need a different way of management from typical goods type of products. For example, there is continual iterative product management. If you are coming from the agile world, you might already know how this works using Scrum, Kanban, and other frameworks. And one of the higher level certifications offered in ITIL version 5 is the ITIL product training and certification, where there is in-depth coverage of the digital product lifecycle and its management. So ITIL recommendations in ITIL version 5 apply primarily to digitally enabled and purely digital products, and of course to services as well that are digital. But here our focus is on the product at the moment.